Hi, come on in. If you love all things crochet, then you are in the right place. Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely ribbed hat. Now it's really quick and simple, chunky hat with a pom-pom, and it's perfect for beginners. Works up fast, and that's thanks to the super chunky yarn. Now this hat is actually part of a matching set, and tomorrow I'll share the tutorial for the scarf that goes with it, and the pattern for these is out now, and I'll link that in the box below if you'd like to have a physical copy. Now today I'm going to be using this particular wool. It's called New Fashion Super Chunky by Woolcraft. It is lovely and soft, really nice to work with as well. And although it suggests using a size 10mm hook, I'll be using an 8mm with it. So you can find this and everything I've used linked in the description below, including the yarn and hooks and so on. I've just started an Amazon affiliate, so if you do decide to get your supplies through those links, it really helps support my channel at no extra cost to you. And if you'd like to support the channel in another way, I've set up a little buy me a coffee page. The link is down there too, but there's no pressure at all. However, it's always appreciated if you do. I'm going to be making a hat for a 3-year-old, so the height of the hat I want is 7.25 inches, which is roughly 18 centimeters. But as I want to turn up on the bottom of the hat, then I need to add 2 inches. So that means that it will be 9.25 inches that I will make a chain for. Now you can make this hat to any size you want. It looks just as good for adults and children alike. And I do have a free hat size guide, which will be in a clickable link down below for you. It goes into everything you may need for preemie babies right the way up to adults, including different lengths and so on. So if you want above the ear or below the ear, just remember that when you're doing this hat and you want to have your length of your hat, add that 2 inches for your turn up. And if you want a larger or smaller turn up, then you can adjust that for yourselves. So to start with, we're going to start with the chain stitch, and we are going to make a slip knot. So I simply cross that in the front to make a loop, put my hook through, yarn over, and pull it through to make that slip knot. Don't pull it too tight because you want to be able to move it still and not have too tight a start to your work. You can always pull it tighter at the end. So to make your chain, just yarn over and pull through that loop, yarn over and pull through the loop, yarn over and pull through. And what I'm going to do is to make my chain the 9.25 length here, and you can make your chain as big as you actually want your hat to be. What I will do is I will meet you when you're finished making your chain. So my chain, as you can see, is 9.25, but I'm going to add one more chain to use as a turning chain. So add that single one. So we're going to start with making UK double crochets, US single crochets the whole way along. And we're going to start by working into the second chain from the hook. So we don't count the one on our hook. So that's 1, 2, and that's the one we're going to work into. So we put our hook through the chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through both. Same for the next one, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over and pull through both. And we're just going to do this for the whole length of your chain, right the way along, and I will meet you when you come to the end. So I have come to my last stitch, and I'm just going to put my last one in there. Oops. And then we are going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now from now on we're going to be working into back loops only. Now when we're working into the back loops, You can just see your little V stitch right there at the top. It looks like a V. We are working into this one, not the front one, not the two together, but into that little stitch right there, into that back loop only. That's the one we'll be working into. So when you're doing this also, keep a count on your stitches just to make sure you've not increased or decreased at all. And what we're going to be doing is making, again, UK double crochet, US single, but into that back loop only. So as you can see, I've got my V there. I'm going to put my hook through that back loop only, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, and pull through both. And again, into that second part of that V, yarn over, pulling it through, yarn over, and pull through both. The V, the second part, yarn over, and you're going to do this the whole way along. And what I will do is I will meet you when you've finished this row. So I've come to the end of the row, and you can just see that this starts to make it a ribbed effect, which is what we want for our hat. And we will just put our hook through that last back loop, yarn over, pull through, single chain, and turn our work. And we're going to work the same again, because as I say, this is just a repeat row the whole way along now. So in through that back loop, yarn over and pull through both, and again, and you will continue with that the whole way along. And you'll just continue making this row. Now for myself, my hat will measure 17 inches, which is roughly 43 centimeters, and I can measure it on my ruler here. And for yourselves, you will alter that depending on what hat size that you want. All of that is in my hat size guide. It does have the head circumference and the relevant hat circumference that you will want for that head size. So it's all there for you. So you can measure the person's head that you want to make the hat for, and then the relevant hat circumference size will be there for you. So make this as long as you want that circumference to be, and when you've finished, I will meet you back here. Now I have made my hat length that I wanted. I've measured it and made sure it's the right length. And as you can see, it comes this lovely ribbed away. It looks really nice. Now, I happen to come to an end of a ball of yarn, but so I have a nice long length. But you really want to leave a nice long length because we want to join our hat edges together, and then also put the top together to pull it together to make it into our hat. Now you can use a needle and sew it up. Now I haven't finished this off properly, but as you can tell, I have finished the length that I want. So I'm just going to pull through my yarn now, like that, and that just finishes off the end there. And if you sew this together, what you do have to do is remember that you want to have a turn up, and that's a 2-inch turn up. So therefore, when you're sewing it, you want to sew it through the loops here. So I would take it through that loop, and then the corresponding one on the other side, and sew it up. But then you also want to measure your 2 inches, so to there. You would sew it up to there, and then you would turn it so you're sewing on the inside, because that one will obviously be your seam for your turn up and you won't see it, but you don't want the seam to be on the outside of the rest of your work. I'm going to join mine by slip stitch, and what I will do is show you how to do it with a slip stitch and what I mean by turning it over. But I would do the same if I was sewing it. I'm going to put my hooks through the back loop only, and then obviously the front loop on this side to join it together. Whoops, that's through both. We want it just through the one, like that. Put your yarn over and pull through both, in through that loop there, and then the corresponding one on the other side, but just the front loop of that one. So it's the back loop of this one and front loop of that one. Yarn over and pull through both. So we're just slip stitching up here, that one and that one. Slip stitch again. Oops. This is why you need a nice long length of yarn so that you can slip stitch it up nicely. As I say, you're catching the back loop on this side, and then the front loop, you can just see the V there, the front loop on that side. Keep a watch on your size. I'll have a measure after we've done this one. So that is just about the 2 inches. So I now need to remember that this side is going to be the outside of my hat. So I want the seam to be on the inside after this. So now that we know that we've got 2 inches on this side, we want to turn it round. So I'm just going to take my hook out for the minute so that it makes it a little bit easier. Remember, we want our yarn on the side that we're going to be working on as well. So it is just a case of turning your work around, taking that yarn with you, getting your loop, and we now want to start working on the other side. So we're now going to start joining from there. We need to put our hook through the next stitch, through that back loop on that one. Oops. And the front loop on the opposite one. Yarn over and pull through both. And the first one, it can be a little bit more awkward, but once you've got going, it's nice and easy again. Through the front loop there, yarn over and pull through. And we're just going to work all the way up this seam here until we get to the top, going in through that back loop right there. Whoops. And through the front loop on the other side. And I'll see you when you get to the top of your hat. We've now crocheted up the whole of our side and joined it together. Remember that this is the inside of the hat. Pull through your yarn. And what we want to do is to pull the top of our hat in now. So we're going to thread a needle with our wool. This is why you really need a nice long length of wool because of yarn, because obviously you have to go up the whole side, and then we also need to weave in and out of our hat. So what you want to do is to take your thread, you want to go in to your first hole there, so go in and then back out, in and out. And you can just see these as we go along, in and out of the rows. So you can see those holes right there at the top. So in and back out again. And do that the whole way around your work until you come to this side. So very simply, in and out of each row. You can see the top there with a little hole and the bottom there. And do that the whole way around. So I've gone the whole way around and I'm back at the beginning. And what we want to do is to take the end and just slowly pull in our hat for the head. Making sure we pull it as tight as we can. Without breaking our thread, or yarn I mean. So pull it in nice and tight. You can see it's coming together really well. And then this is why we did it when we were on the inside, because you do still have to sew a little bit on the top here. I like to put my hand up the middle so that I can just see what I'm doing that little bit. Pull it a little bit more. Around, just sewing in these ends a little bit, making sure that we've got no huge big holes. Just going across, touching from one side to the other, pulling it tight as I go, so you're cinching it in the whole time, pulling that hat together. Pulling it tight all the way along. So this is why I do it from this side, because you won't see it on the other edge. So I've sewn it the whole way along. You can do a few more if you feel that you need to. You can do as much as you need to. I mean, sometimes I have seen people do it the other way as well. I like to keep it like that. Make sure you then finish off your wool so that it's not going to come undone. So I always put it through a loop, put my wool over the hook, over the needle, and pull it through so that it forms a little knot, which will hold that tight and stop it from unraveling. And then I go through the normal finishing off through a few loops. Down through a couple more. Come back through. And then I can cut my bow, and that is finished off. If I turn my hat around, you can now see how it's looking. And that's from the top of our hat. You can see how the little hat is looking. It's from the top of our hat. And obviously I have just turned up the little bit at the bottom. We do have the other end to do. And what I like to do with this end is, again, I like to actually put it on my needle. Obviously you want to finish it off, but before I actually finish it off, I use it to just fasten my turn up to the inside here. So first of all, I will go through a couple of loops, and then I will move down the hat a little bit, and then, because I don't want it to be right at the top that I'm fastening it, then I will turn it up and I will just fasten that to the hat. Remember, it's not right at the top, so you want to come down just a little bit, put it through one of these loops here. My needles come undone. So I've taken it through that loop, and now I'm going to go through another one, but then put it into the reverse side of the hat. Put it through. We want to finish off this piece of yarn. So again, I am putting that little knot where I put the yarn over the needle, pulling it tight so that it doesn't become undone. Going through just a couple of loops, Work your way back again, and then you can cut that off. And what that does is just attach it to the hat, so you've got your little turn up, and it just helps to hold it there. Now, I like to put a pom-pom on the top of mine. I mean, you can leave the hat if you want to. It looks quite nice as it is, but I like a pom-pom on the top of mine. So I have this pom-pom here that I'm going to put on. Now, this is one that I've made, and I do have a tutorial on how to make these, so I will link that here on the screen for you and down below in the description, so you can go to that to make your own pom-pom. You can buy the shop bought ones, so I will put a little link in the description for ones that you can buy on Amazon should you want to. I do have some of those that I use in other hats that I do. But I'm going to use this little pom-pom that I made. I think it looks lovely, it goes really well. And I've left some longer ends from tying it together. I used a slightly thinner yarn to tie it together. As this is very thick, I thought that made sense and it would make it easier for me to use. So we're going to just attach this to the top of my hat. I'm going to put that and put that in through the top of the hat. I'm wanting to put them in two slightly different places so that it holds the pom-pom a little bit firmer. You put them in through the same place with the hat, then I find that it doesn't make it quite so secure. So I put one through there, and I'm going to put another one in through here, pulling that through on the inside. Now I am going to, you can see, I'm going to just tie a knot, 1 and 2, and a third one just to hold it nice and tight. I'll finish off my ends. There you have your lovely hat with your pom-pom on the top. Now these are perfect as a gift or for yourself, just to keep you nice and cozy. And obviously tomorrow I will be sharing the matching scarf tutorial, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that. And I'd love to hear from you if you've tried this pattern and how you get on with it. So thank you for joining me and keeping me company, and I'll see you in the next one.